I'm attorney Mike Contant. Today I wanted to talk about the top 5 worst mistakes you can make in a Title IX case. Now, for those of you who don't know what Title IX is, it's a disciplinary process brought against students, faculty, and staff at both colleges and universities as well as K-12 schools, usually involving some form of gender discrimination, sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, or stalking. That's essentially what Title IX covers. Now, in those proceedings, the person can face expulsion, suspension, probation, or any other level of discipline the school has. Title IX is regulated by the federal government, and there are specific regulations that have to be followed. And today I wanted to talk about the worst mistakes you can make if you actually have a Title IX case. Now, this video was inspired by a good friend of mine, Adam Zucker. He's an attorney out of the Pennsylvania area, kind of near Philly. I believe his office is in Blue Bell, Pennsylvania. He's actually the first person to get me into Title IX. He's taught me a lot. He's been a mentor to me throughout, and he's actually done a video on this topic as well. While Adam and I agree on a whole mess of things when it comes to Title IX as well as criminal defense, our lists are going to be a little bit different. So while you might like my video, I hope, please check out his video. I will put a link to his video in the description to this video. I think it'd be great to check out. If you have any interest in this topic, you've been charged with Title IX, particularly, like I said, in the Pennsylvania area. He goes all over that area and handles Title IX defense. Okay, so let's get right into it. And I struggled for a minute about whether to do, the worst mistake first or put them in any particular order. And you know what? I kind of want you guys to stay through to the end of the video. So I decided to go in reverse order about the worst and best, although they're all really bad. I did save the best for last, so you're gonna have to stick around to the end and see what is the absolute worst mistake you can make in a Title IX case. The video is only gonna be a couple of minutes long, so I'm sure you can stick it out. It's just gonna be good for my YouTube analytics to have that working like that. Okay. Number 5. Now that is talking about your case on any type of social media, and that even involves Snapchat. So you get the notice or you get told by someone that you're gonna get charged with Title IX and you start freaking out, right? So what do you do as a high school or college kid, even some faculty and staff who typically, a lot of people vent on social media and they talk about their day and they talk about what they ate, they talk about everything they can think of. And doing that is an enormous mistake because anything you say on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, etc., can be used against you in the future. And even Snapchat, people think that those videos and texts and stories and things can't be saved and they get, tossed out after a certain period of time. But people can screenshot those. People can take another device, then take a picture of it so you don't even know they screenshotted it. And stuff you said on there could be used against you, particularly if you admitted to doing any part of this, So even if you admitted to having some kind of relations with the other person, that's a huge mistake. Number 4 would be confronting your accuser or any witnesses to the Title IX case. That's an enormous mistake. It causes all kinds of problems. So again, you get the notice and you get all mad because you're like, I didn't do anything. And the first thing you do is you pick up your phone and you send a text or an email or even call the person, start laying into them and start yelling at them or in some way, shape, or form, basically confronting them about making the accusation in the first place, or you go to a witness who's been named and do the same thing. This is a huge mistake for a number of reasons. One is, again, it could be used, depending on what you say, it could be used as some kind of admission against you in the Title IX case. But 2, by doing this, you are likely committing another school violation related to Title IX, which is retaliation. Now, you cannot retaliate against anybody for bringing a Title IX case against you or being a witness in a Title IX case against you. And this type of behavior could be construed as some form of retaliation. So now you're not only going to have to deal with the Title IX case, you're also going to have to deal with a potential other school discipline case for retaliation. So really bad idea to confront anybody involved in the case when you get that notice that you're being charged with a Title IX case. Number 3, not saving photos, videos, texts, emails with either the accuser or witnesses involved in the case. Now, I've had this happen to me a number of times. When I say me, I mean my clients have done this to the case a number of times, and every time I shake my head. So what the client comes in and says, okay, so, I met this girl, we had some fun together, we drank or we hooked up, we did X, Y, and Z, but it was completely consensual. I know so because even the next day, she contacted me and she sent me a text saying what a great time she had. She sent me cute little videos and photos asking me about my day and telling me about her day. And this is all great stuff because it goes against any allegation that the accuser might say that it was not consensual. So this is awesome material. I want it. So I say to the person, okay, give me your phone. Let's screenshot that. Send me a copy. What can we do with that? And then the person says to me, oh, I deleted it. And my jaw hits the ground because I'm like, why would you delete something like that that is so powerful and so helpful to your case? And the person might say, well, you know what? I didn't want to see her again, and I just wanted to get rid of it, and I just didn't want it anymore. But unfortunately, in that case, particularly where there's material in there that is what we refer to as exculpatory or helpful to your case, it's a huge blow because now I've lost that evidence forever. It's hard to prove that they sent those texts or photos or videos or anything like that that might be helpful to your case. So really bad idea. Never, ever, ever delete photos, texts, emails, videos that have anything to do with the case, the accuser, or any witnesses to the case. Number 2, top worst mistake you can make in a Title IX case is not using an attorney as your advisor. Now, as you may or may not know, in a Title IX case, you're entitled to have someone by your side. They call that person an advisor. Now, that person does not have to be a lawyer, although we highly recommend that it be a lawyer. It doesn't have to be us, but I suggest you get a lawyer, particularly a lawyer who has some trial skills and some trial experience, because that's going to come up in a Title IX case. Particularly under the new regulations, your advisor is now not just allowed, but is the person who has to cross-examine any witnesses and the accuser at any hearing in the matter. Now, the history professor might be a great history professor, might be a good friend. Your guidance counselor might be the same. Your parent might be your best friend in the world and you trust them implicitly to handle all these things. It's not the same as having a lawyer with trial experience be your advisor for a number of reasons. One is cross-examination is very much a learned skill, which we spent years honing and making sure we can do it the right way. But beyond just the basics of being a cross-examine a witness, it's a very uncomfortable situation. Even for a lawyer, it's a very uncomfortable situation to talk about a female or even a male about sexual things, okay, particularly anything that comes close to rape, such as any non-consensual sexual contact, which is most of what Title IX cases are. And it's not an easy thing to do. To do it effectively, you kind of have to have the experience to put all that aside and the knowledge and the skill to cross-examine someone effectively. Not to mention and that's just one facet as to why you should have an attorney. The other part of it, and I would say that's the most important facet as to why you have an attorney, but the other part of it is just strategy overall throughout. An attorney, as opposed to a friend, a teacher, a parent, or some other type of advisor, is going to think of everything strategically. Everything you do, everything you say, everything you write, if you choose to respond to some of this in writing, which is part of the Title IX process. The attorney can advise you whether, number one, to do it or not, number two, what should go into that, and can help you craft the right statement and right argument so that you're making sure that you're preserving your rights and you're doing the right thing for yourself, okay? That is extremely important to not have someone other than an attorney be your advisor. And in the same realm, do not go it alone. You will not be doing yourself any favors. And quite frankly, if and when the matter gets to a hearing, you're going to be required to have an attorney because you're not allowed to cross-examine the accused. You have to have an advisor of some kind doing that. And if you haven't got your own advisor at that point, the school's going to give you one, and that person's coming to the case very late and has to do a lot of catch up. So really important, go talk to an attorney, get them as your advisor right at the outset of this case. It's going to help you out a lot. It's super important. Now, I know you've been waiting for it, or maybe you haven't been, or maybe you already clicked away. I don't know. But the number one, the worst mistake you can make in a Title IX case right now is apologizing to your accuser. Now, in many circumstances, again, you met this person, maybe at a party, maybe you had a crush on them, maybe this is something you had wanted to do for a long time as far as, date them or hook up with them or whatever, and you like the person, right? And you went out, you met them, you had a good time, something happened or something didn't happen, and then the next day or a few days later, you get this text from them or this call from them, and they are very upset. And they are saying to you, I can't believe you did that to me. And you're over here scratching your head because you're like, wait a minute, I thought we had a good time. I didn't realize anything was non-consensual. I thought everything was great. But, they're upset and you want to console them, or you feel guilt. I'm Catholic. We have that thing called the Catholic guilt. And you just kind of want to make it go away. I've had some people actually say their accuser was just berating them and firing off texts and calls and having other people call them and saying, if you just admit what you did, I'll stop. We'll stop. We'll leave you alone forever. Just admit you raped me, or just admit it wasn't consensual. Just admit you touched me. And after a while, the person, the client, our client, the accused, can get worn down. And sometimes they say things that, maybe aren't true in their minds, just to make it stop. Just because they start thinking back and they're afraid, or they're thinking the other person, maybe they really didn't have a good time, and they feel bad about that, and that's an okay thing. It shows empathy. But at the same time, taking your phone out or your computer and drafting that text or that email, or way worse, a video, saying, hey, I'm so sorry for what I did. It was really wrong. I feel horrible about it, and sending that to them. And we have examples, many examples of this happening, and that where it just totally torpedoes the case, because it's hard to take that back. And that person immediately saved that text. They screenshotted it, or they took another device and they recorded it that way to make sure they had it. And now it's evidence against you, and that's pretty powerful evidence against you in this Title IX case. And it sometimes it's hard to overcome. And we've made the argument before, and obviously it depends on how it's worded. But at the same time, never, ever, ever apologize, particularly in writing, particularly over text or email in a Title IX case. That is the number one killer to your case. It really makes your job 10 times more difficult, and our job 10 times more difficult, to try to exonerate you for anything relative to the case. So as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email, or leave a comment below the video. If you liked this video and you want to subscribe to our channel, we'd really appreciate that. Just hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you liked it as well, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot and have a great day.